because I've always looked through the prism of financial markets, right? And I think it's one of the biggest tragedies in contemporary culture as well, apart from the news, is 90% plus of people don't understand what financial markets are, what they can give you. So they're not doing it, and then they're struggling financially. And it's like, what a fucking failure of our education. Because we invented them 2 centuries ago, and everyone who's got involved with them in that time, sensibly and understands them, has had a much better life. And actually, a huge part of it, the reason inequality exists is, here's a mathematical idea for you. 3 people all start with 100 at 25, let's say, right? And 100 is like work ethic, intelligence, health, and money. And so it's not like 100 quid, or it's just a sort of thing of 100.
Like a bar of different.
So if one of them gets 1% better each month consistently, they read, they work out, they eat well, they don't drink too much booze. By the way, I drink too much booze, but like, they're just really conscientious and hardworking and whatever. The other person just stays the same, like, and one of them is really lazy and doesn't do anything and gets like 1% worse. So the top one gets 1% better a month, because you can almost do that with investment, right? And you can certainly do it with personal development. Like if you read a book a month, you're probably 1% better a month, right? One of them is flat, and one of them it gets 1% worse a year, because gradually they, what's the difference mathematically between their numbers on a 20 or 30 year view? Because after 5 years, they'll still be mates, they'll still be going to the pub together. You won't. One of them will have a slightly better job. One of them will be getting
start seeing the changes little by little. There.
10 years later, you still can't see. But when they're 65, one of them is going to be 390 times richer than the one who's flat.
See some guy talking about today on Twitter. 1% every day he talks about.
But this is what people are really bad at. Exponential progressions. People, like, if I say to you, how far is it? If you took 30 steps, how far are you going to travel? 30 meters or whatever, 30 yards, right? If I say 30 exponential steps, so 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, you go 30 times around the world, because that's the power of it. And so 1% changes, tiny little changes each month, and nobody gets taught this stuff. It's like, that person's rich because they're an arsehole. No, they're rich because not only have they got 1% better for 30 years, the reason the rich are really disproportionately rich is because if your great-grandfather and your grandfather, notwithstanding what we said earlier about they lose it, but the richest people in the world, look at Taylor Swift. Here's a random example. Isaac Newton, that expression, standing on the shoulders of giants. Like, if I could see further, it's only because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. So making a point that everything that's gone before, if you benefit from everything that's gone before, it has a huge impact on your life and scientific progress at the level of society. So Taylor Swift is the only billionaire female pop singer of all time, right? And her dad was an MD at Merrill Lynch, right? And so now you might think that doesn't matter, but it really does matter, because when she was 12 and said, "Daddy, can I have a guitar?" he went, "Here's a fucking nice guitar." "Daddy, can I have studio time?" "Sure." "Daddy, can I have my own studio at home?" I don't know whether she actually had that, because he worked his arse off. Or look at the Kardashians. Like, what was their dad now?
He's an athlete, wasn't he?
Right, he's an Olympic gold medalist. So what does that mean about, cash, work ethic? So it's like,
Kylie Jenner, billionaire.
So getting 1% better over 2 generations is why you have these massive outliers, right? Because it's the maths. Like 1% better each month, you can't really tell the difference after 10 years.